Not with pistols, shoes, and rubber and bullets. So exactly it is. This is an old cartridge.
Recording in progress.
Call to order the regular meeting of the Rio Dell City Council. Roll call, please.
Mayor Barnes?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Carter?
Excuse.
Councilmember Orr?
Here.
Councilmember Wilson?
Here.
Councilmember Whittle?
Here. Please sit. Please stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Public presentations. There's nothing to report out of closed session. Now on to public presentations. This is the time for persons who wish to address the council on any matter not on this agenda and over which the council has jurisdiction. As such, a dialogue with the council or staff is not allowed under the Ralph M. Brown Act. Items requiring council action not listed on this agenda may be placed on the next regular agenda for consideration if the council directs, unless a finding is made by at least 2/3 of the council that the item came up after the agenda was posted and is of an urgency nature requiring immediate action. Please limit comments to a maximum of 3 minutes. No, nothing. Welcome anyway. Any hand raised? We will close public presentation. Is there anyone on the council that would like to remove an item from the consent calendar? No. Any member of the public? Okay, is there a motion to approve the consent calendar?
I make a motion to approve the consent calendar.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Motion carries 4-0. Okay, item M, reports and staff communication, city manager, page 42 in our packets.
Thank you, Mayor Barnes, members of the council. So myself and the water superintendent, Randy Jensen, met with Hank Seaman from the Humboldt County Public Works Department to discuss the Potter Valley project and the city's concerns. I think it was overall a very good meeting to refine, as the council may recall, the authorized letter that was sent out to the county and also to the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission related to the decommissioning of the Scott Dam. It's an important deal and it has a lot of kind of unintended consequences potentially for the city, but I think we're on a good track in terms of making sure that at least our issues are raised with Pacific Gas and Electric through the federal process. And then also we have some good news, which is the Wildlife Conservation Board meeting, which happened on Thursday, August 28th, a $1.2 million grant for the Eel River Trail ADA portion was approved. So we'll be working with the city engineers to get that out to bid and to get that project underway as soon as practical. And then I did attend the Redwood Empire Division meeting in Fortuna on the 22nd, and there was a great presentation. And since Mayor Pro Tem Carter is not here, I'll just mention it. From Yana Valakovic, the forestry advisor through the UC extension on fire and its connections to home insurance, and really just how there are some important building design criteria that are starting to become more adopted statewide related to fireproofing homes, and that there's kind of just really simple things that are relatively simple changes in designs to buildings when they're originally built that can basically help make them resilient to fire and fire ember transmission over long distances, which we've seen as the real culprit in some of the more large disasters over the last decade or so. So with that, I'm happy to return to the mayor and see if there's any questions of the staff.
Thank you, city manager. First, I want to say yay about the grant. And thank you, Kevin, for going after those dollars. Really appreciate it. Councilmember Woodall, Councilmember Orr, Councilmember Wilson.
No, not a whole lot. I do have one that did mention this question. I keep seeing these reports all over social media about the bears, bears in multiple places. But the theory is that maybe just one bear, it's in travelers. They had a pretty good radius, 30 radius that they migrate on a regular basis. But is there anything that we could do, like investigate even down here, someone? Eventually, there was one I just saw today that mentioned he was over on the riverside and came across and walked right out through the backyard there, and then eventually it's going to be sold as the dog who possibly had a but it's probably under there. And I wouldn't do the best. So I just, there's something the city can do.
I can definitely check in with Fish and Game and see what their criteria is for like relocating. So I don't know that they're gonna do anything with a bear that hasn't caused any significant risks for your life at this point, but I can definitely check in with them and get back to you.
Like the one people on the blue side where the bear comes down and gets their garbage cans all sweet. And backs them off, up, take the pedal, pack them up the old blue side road. And scatter, smash them. They're empty. She's very intelligent enough to smash them. I mean, they're done. He puts stuff in them. But anyhow, I know the residents probably actually feel them.
I'll check in, I'll get back to you.
Thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you. Any public comments on the staff report? Okay, then did you have any questions?
No cats transported to Miranda's rescue, but no questions.
Okay. That bit of information.
But were you gonna say
George County has rejoined the meeting. Okay. Then we will move on to special call items. Item 2/25-0902.07, public hearing on the cost recovery for abatement of 530 3rd Avenue, page 47 in our packets. You manager.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the council. This item serves as a public hearing on the cost recovery for the abatement that occurred at 530 3rd Avenue. The abatement took place on May 20th, 2025, and the total cost is determined to be $4,054.54. It's recommended to receive the evidence, discuss the matter, and approve the findings and order on the account basis.
Thank you. Is there any questions? Councilmember Woodall, Councilmember Orr, Councilmember Wilson? Any public comment? Any hands raised? Anything else? And we will close the public hearing and ask for a motion to approve the findings and order confirming accounts and assessment for the abatement of 530 3rd Avenue.
So moved.
You have a motion, is there a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Motion carries 5-0. Item number 2, authorize the city manager to issue a request for proposals for annual landscaping maintenance services, page 54 in our packet. City manager.
Thank you, Mayor Garnes and members of the council. So the city of Rio Dell currently utilizes its utility crew for grounds maintenance activities, in addition to specialized utility operations that require technical expertise and involve regulatory compliance, and that would be in water and wastewater functions. So my understanding is that over 10 years ago, the city of Rio Dell issued an RFP for landscaping services, but from the memory of staff, the proposals came in at a high cost, and the proposal was dropped in favor of continuing to use the utility crew for grounds maintenance. So in our discussions at the senior staff level of trying to assess some of the differences between our operations with other cities and what would be maybe a better situation for public works employees related to their job functions. I think the topic came up of really kind of revisiting this issue of potentially contracting out landscape maintenance services. As the council's well aware, our main roadway, in particular, Wildwood Avenue, has a number of very nice features, but they are time-intensive features to maintain. That's mostly the grass and tree plantings, city hall lawn, that and whatnot. But also our median island areas, and that it could be advantageous for the city to explore looking at contracting out, utilizing a third-party service to do that kind of regular maintenance. Some of the advantages potentially associated with contracting out would be that those crews are kind of specialized, that's kind of what they do. So as an example, if a weed feed needs to be applied to the lawn area, they would know exactly the right way of doing that, the right application dosage, that sort of thing. That, you know, that fundamentally it could free up our employees to really focus on the regulatory compliance issues and the kind of the, I don't want to dismiss the lawn care aspect, but kind of the more technical aspects of being a utility worker, the ones that, you know, we really request that our staff, we hold to a very high standard. We really request that they don't make mistakes in those areas. So free them up for additional training. We would free them up for just the exhaustion of the maintenance of those facilities, which can just be physically exhausting. It can also be a job that's prone to injury, which takes somebody out of the, you know, the queue, so to speak, or the available resources to tackle regulatory compliance issues and just mandated services like water and sewer. You know, what I really think there are many potential benefits to this. So one of the downsides just identified right off at the top that I want to make sure that the council's aware of if we continue to go down this route is just that this will be an added additional cost to the city because right now I don't feel like it's appropriate and I don't think it will be in the future to really downsize public works staff. So we would be taking some of the maintenance out of, you know, the buildings and grounds funds, out of the streets funds, and then their time would be spent more on the water and sewer side, increasing water and sewer costs. And then the backfill on the grounds and the street maintenance would be those contracted crews doing that basic, regular, weekly, roughly weekly maintenance of those facilities throughout town. So mostly on Wildwood Avenue. You know, the crew would still be doing some level of yard maintenance. They probably would still be managing the irrigation system. They probably might be called in a pinch if the contractor is unavailable. They certainly would be doing seasonal mowing and that sort of stuff as we get into the spring period. But right, we feel that issuing an RFP, getting something nailed down will provide us a dollar figure. It's not a commitment at this point in time, but we're trying to get a more accurate picture as to what this would look like for the council to make that, you know, final determination as to whether this is a route that we really want to go on. So with that, I'm happy to, you know, try to answer any questions that the council may have, see if Randy has any additional comments on the proposal and go from there.
Sure. So would they take care of the triangle park and the whole mile through it? Or just the gateway down the same?
Anything that's associated with Wildwood Avenue.
Just Wildwood
So
Avenue?
we have Wildwood Avenue. I'm talking about the crew that they hire,
The what?
the crew that they hire.
Yes.
They would do the gateway, north and south, parks, which would be Memorial, Blue Star, City Hall.
But the minions, the rest of the way down, we'd still take care of.
There's three, we call that the South Gateway, they do those as well.
Oh, okay. And the, down at the tennis courts, we probably still more than one.
Then we do that.
Okay.
We'll focus mostly on Humboldt Avenue areas that have that crew do that, and we focus on outskirts of that.
I'm for it. I'm down here a lot in the morning on the days that they are doing it, and they are down here for a long time. We're short of help, and I'm sure there's a lot of other things that they could do and need to be concentrating on. And I think it'll be great to see if we can do it, you know, so we can let them do the work, other work that they need to be doing.
Thank you. Councilmember Wilson?
Yeah, I didn't hear Randy, they were good, you said they would do Davis Park,
We may continue doing Davis Street Park.
the public works with it.
Yes.
And then how many public works people do we have that are in this yard, the yard landscape?
Budgeted, it's 3.
Three. And we guys have full staff.
Paramount, we have one.
Have one. Or we have a hard time getting up staff. Is it because of wages, people want to do it, or,
It's a variety of those things, yes.
what about the dog park? Who would take care of the dogs?
I would assume that we would keep up on the dog park ourselves.
We can do that. And so then you're gonna give an RFP, and then bring it back to council, we balance out those numbers and say, yeah, and which are the both. I think it'd be good to sort of see the cost, because we don't have to pay benefits. These one thing will not happen to pay, but even a contract. Or some contract. Landscapers don't have them. Somebody's got to do it. Want to see our yard gateway, go with decent, it's beautiful a little bit. Want to see us lose them. That's all I have.
Councilmember Wolf?
Just one, well, I was gonna ask if the training potential was to move, public works into other vital areas where we're missing people there. If there's only 1 out of 3 filled, that's probably the vital areas. Yeah, that was it.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just add to that, having this function contracted out when we are short staffed with, you know, help buffer out when those short staffing periods happen.
Thank you, Mayor.
No questions. It makes sense to me. I see no harm in getting some proposals.
I agree with everything. And is there public comment? Hand raised? Emails? Then I would ask for a motion to approve the RFP process for landscaping services in Rio Dell. So, we have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Motion carries 5-0. Now we move on to introduction and first reading by title only of ordinance number 418-2025, amending the city's accessory dwelling units regulations to incorporate state mandated changes pursuant to SD 1211, page 56 in our packets. City manager.
I will go ahead and turn this over to our community development director, Mr. Kevin Caldwell.
Mayor Garnes, city council members, thank you. This is before you, it's another state mandate that compels the city to amend our accessory dwelling unit regulations. If you look at page 57, there are 4 bullet points that really summarizes what needs to be done. The number of units right now, our provisions allow for 2 accessory dwelling units. One is called an accessory dwelling unit, the second would be a junior accessory dwelling unit. Under the new changes, based on the number of units you have on your property, for example, if you own a duplex, you'd be able to have 2 ADUs, so a total of 4 units. That's a maximum of 8, so if you have 8-plex, you could actually have 8 ADUs for that as well. One of the things we need to amend as well is that we cannot require any more parking, even if those ADUs displace parking. That's a state mandate. And a lot of these changes to state law are really based on larger urban areas where they've got mass transit, public transit opportunities. We do have them here, and there are exceptions if you're within a half mile of a bus stop to waive the parking requirements. not all of Rio Dell within a half mile. So this may come back to affect us. We do have a special provision, and it's allowed by state law to not waive parking requirements in the avenues neighborhood because we have a parking shortage over there and a lot of on-street parking. So that will not change. We also need to incorporate the definition of livable space. And livable space, and I should have looked at this earlier, we've actually got a pretty broad definition. It says livable space means any area within a dwelling intended for human habitation, including living, sleeping, eating, cooking, or sanitation. Sanitation kind of caught me off guard, because typically when you think of sanitation, you're thinking of a bathroom. And I don't know if too many people live in a bathroom. But anyway, that kind of caught me off guard. And then, of course, it must be a ministerial review. I mean, we can't run them through the instrument process in order to facilitate their accessory dwelling units pursuant to SB 1211 here. Fairly simple. Unfortunately, again, I think a lot of these rules are intended to larger urban areas. We don't have the housing crunch that, let's say, San Francisco or LA has. They're all mandated to these state regulations, in this case, SB 1211. With that, what I would do is I would ask if there are any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer that. And if there are not, I would recommend that we schedule the second reading, approval, and adoption for a meeting of September 16th. Again, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Councilmember Orr.
I'm just going out on a limb here, thinking that livable space does not mean a bathroom, but it has to include the bathroom.
You do have to have a bathroom facility. Some ADUs, junior ADUs, they can actually share the bathroom with the primary residence. Junior ADUs, 95% of the time are attached, and they may have a separate entrance, or they may have the same entrance going into it. But they do have to have access to a bathroom. So that's it.
Mayor Pro Tem.
No questions. Thank you.
Councilmember Wilson. Councilmember Woodall. And I have no questions. I'm going to public. Hand raised. Emails? No. Okay, thank you. Then I'll ask for a motion to continue this to the second reading and approval of the ordinance to the meeting of September 16th, 2025.
So moved.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Motion carries 5-0. And now we will move on to council reports and communications. Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you. I attended the Cal Cities Redwood Region meeting on August 22nd in Fortuna. It was a good meeting. We heard, well, like it was said in the staff report, a very thorough presentation on homeowners insurance and fire risk. And we've heard it before, but since everything keeps changing, it's good to hear it every couple of years. So I'm not an expert on that if you have any questions. I went to a REDEC meeting on August 25th. We heard from this startup Humboldt, that's like Shark Tank style competition that's awarding $200,000 to whoever wins the contest. I need to look into this a little bit more. It was interesting. But I urge you to look at their website, and I would love to get some new businesses down in Rio Dell. So if it seems like a thing that's actually a thing, I would definitely encourage people to look into that. Lastly, the Resource Center is putting on the Touch a Truck event September 6th at the fire hall. It's a Saturday, I believe, from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. And it's really fun for grown-ups too. So thank you. That's it.
Thank you. Councilmember Orr.
Attended the HCOG meeting. There were a slew of very thorough presentations, two of which one was the implementation of the Safe Streets website, which basically categorizes streets as far as safety based on lanes of travel, bicycle lanes of travel, amounts of traffic, crosswalks, all of those things. And the other one was a thorough breakdown of how they're doing the housing counts for the next assessment for the state of California and how we can reach exemption status on some of them based on projects and everything in the works. So that was it.
Councilmember Wilson?
I went to HW and RCEA. And the one thing that we're gonna do next time, at the next meeting in September, is we're gonna talk about the use of AI power that's being used. One of the, how much you could take in, also how it's gonna affect downstream. The other thing that they brought out, which appears to take effect, is the administration of the United States has pulled back on the wind money to do the terminal at the bay. And the offshore, the current administration is not in the wind power at all. And so they're cutting back on that. And there's also this part on the microgrid that was going to be done for the for the local tribes. They're going to put half of the bill through grants for the federal government to build microgrids, because they're at the end of the grid, like Little Creek, Humboldt, or anything they didn't want. Yeah, so when they have to have weather, they use their power. With the microgrid, they put power into the grid during the daytime, good weather, and then during the day, they have power stored up. So they're not pretty sure they're not going to get that money, which will cut the tribes out of doing that, which is a bad thing. But these are some of these pros and cons, or whatever you want. How do we look at it? When it rains on the just and the unjust. So when it rains, for some people it's good, for other people it's bad. If you're at Shasta Dam, the rain is really good. If you're in a place in Texas, or wash away all the camps, it's not a good thing. So just something to be apprised, and if you want to go to the next meeting in September, you can go learn about AI. That's all.
Thank you. Councilmember Woodall?
On the 8th, there's gonna be a chamber meeting down at the Resource Center at 6 o'clock. And tomorrow I'm gonna go to the HPA meeting, where near Barnes. And I was talking to some people today, and I'm just gonna throw this out there, at some point, it would be nice to have a bench halfway down the new trail, so that when people are walking down there, they can sit down, several older people and me. I think that, it'd be nice to have a place to sit and work. So at some point in the future, maybe we can look at that. And that's it. Oh, one other thing, at the touch a truck thing, the CERT is going to be there with the table, giving out information.
Thank you. And I just really have a question is about the traffic committee. Are they going to meet anytime to deal with, or is something going to come back to us at some point to deal with the trucks that are not adhering to the 2-hour parking on the weekend and parking there all day when we just approved a new park situation? So a new flower thing over there. Is that something that can come back to the council, or is that something that the traffic committee is going to address anytime soon? Is there any thing that we already have in place that they can be cited for parking there for 3 days in a row? And if not, is that something that can come to the traffic committee? And those are my questions. And I just hope that there's something that we can do. So that's all I have. Is there anyone else? No. Okay, well, is there a motion to adjourn? So moved. Motion, second?
Yeah.
September 6th.